Hello everyone, I'm Sergeant Major of the Army retired Dan Dailey, and welcome to this edition of Soldier Today podcast. Soldier Today podcast is a product of the Non-Commissioned Officer and Soldier Programs Directorate at the Association of the United States Army. Soldier Today subjects focus on those topics that are relevant and needed by our soldiers and their families serving the regular Army, Army National Guard, and the Army Reserve. Our newest discussion today is the United States Army Human Resources Command. U.S. Army Human Resources Command, or HRC, provides human resources services to soldiers, veterans, retirees, and Army families. HRC is the largest human resources organization in the world. Their work affects the quality of life for every soldier. HRC manages soldier schooling, promotions, awards, records, transfers, appointments, benefits, retirement, and more. And they're one agency managing soldiers' entire careers from the day they enter basic training until retirement and beyond. HRC was first formed on October 1st, 2003 by merging the personnel assets of U.S. Total Army Personnel Command and the United States Army Reserve Personnel Command. This merge established HRC as a field operating agency of the Office of the Deputy Chief of Staff for Personnel, G1, and enhanced the potential of every federal soldier in the Army. HRC includes more than 40 operational elements around the country and serves as the single organization that now manages the careers of active and reserve soldiers. We are honored to have with us today Command Sergeant Major Anthony McAdoo, the Command Sergeant Major for HRC. Command Sergeant Major Anthony McAdoo assumed the responsibilities as Command Sergeant Major, United States Army Human Resources Command, Fort Knox, Kentucky, on March 12, 2021. Command Sergeant Major McAdoo, first, congratulations on your new assignment, and thanks for joining us today to talk about this important subject.
Oh, thank you.
Well, Sergeant Major, we'll jump right in. And again, thanks for having us and congratulations on your new assignment to HRC. We really appreciate, as well as our listeners, you taking the time out of your very busy schedule to share with us a little bit of the insight on what Human Resources Command does for our soldiers. So I'd like to jump right in. I thought we'd begin by supporting our SMA's initiative, This Is My Squad. SMA Grinson has said time and time again, it's important to get to know the members of your squad. So could you share with us a little bit about yourself? Where'd you grow up in? Why did you decide to become a soldier?
Well, first of all, thank you for inviting me to this forum. And, I truly appreciate what it is that the AUSA team does for our Army. So as far as me, I'm from a little town in Kentucky called Somerset. So it's great to kind of be back home in my home state where I started at. I had a pretty uneventful childhood. I grew up the son of a preacher who was in church a lot of times, so I wasn't allowed to get into a whole bunch of mischief. Except for the job I have right now in the Army, I only had one other job in my military career, and that was actually working at McDonald's. So this is my second job of my adult life. I also have a sister who is in the United States Army. She's currently a sergeant major also and is currently deployed to Korea. Now, why is it that I enlisted in the Army? It's not a really difficult situation here for me. It was simply as a senior in high school, I had about a month or so left to go before I graduated, and I realized there's absolutely nothing that I have planned to do. I didn't have anything as far as for college funds set aside. I wasn't even thinking about college, but I was like, you know what? I got to do something to get away from home. So I went to the local recruiting station, not knowing anything about the military. So the first one I went to was the Air Force, and I was like, the Air Force, that's airplanes. I've never been in an airplane before. They might fly the sky. I don't want that. Now I looked at the Navy, and I said, Navy, I do not know how to swim. I'm pretty sure they swim. And then look at the Marines, and I was like, I have no clue what it is the Marines do. So then I left them with the Army. And I was like, Army, I watch cartoons, stuff like G.I. Joe, different things. So, hey, I know they stand on the ground, so that is exactly what I'm going to choose. So as you can see, it wasn't real technical of how I chose it. It's just that I had a familiarity with the Army just based off of watching cartoons. So when I did enlist, that plane that I talked about I'd never been on, that was the first time ever that I'd been on a plane. First time I've been out of any adjoining state from Kentucky. So it was a huge experience for me. But as I went in, I continued to work hard, really because I didn't want to go back home, what I was trying to get away from, and kind of too much pride to say I didn't succeed at something. So that is my story of how I am in the Army.
Well, Sergeant Major, thanks for sharing your story. And first of all, thanks for your service and that of your sisters as well. And welcome home to Kentucky. I'm sure that Kentucky is glad to have you back there for at least a little bit of time, because I'm sure that the Army's got big plans for you in the future. And I just want to share with the audience, the first time I joined the Army was the first time I got on a plane too. And I had not been outside of an adjoining state my entire life, just like you. So, and in some ways, I joined the Army too to get away from home, which the ironic thing was I fought my whole life trying to get back, which is the circle of life, I guess. Sergeant Major, HRC. Now, those people in the Army know HRC has got a big mission, and there isn't a single soldier after their first assignment that doesn't know the words Human Resources Command. But can you share for our listeners, what does HRC do for our Army and our soldiers?
Within the command here, my short time here, the messaging that is always used is from the cradle to the grave. And obviously that refers to taking care of every administrative action that affects a soldier, as you stated before, from the time they're in their Army through their military career, and then even continuing that support once they get out of the military. On our website, HRC conducts and manages personnel distribution, talent management, information technology, and a plethora of soldier programs and services provided to the Army. In those areas, I was able to go and visit a location of where we have soldiers actually performing some of those functions, really in our services provided to the total Army. I want to focus on that section because it really had a huge impact on me. And that is a visit that I had coming into the position, was going up to Dover, Delaware, to see our casualty and mortuary affairs operations division and what it is that they do. I'll tell you, I have been a human resources professional my entire career in different types of formations, and I've always interacted with HRC. So I thought I had a good understanding of what it is that HRC does, and really it's taking care of people. But I would tell you that visit that I had up in Dover, Delaware, the professionalism and the care and the genuine concern that I witnessed from our team, from HRC, working up there really put a new perspective on it for me. And it gave me new commitment to what it means to take care of people. I'm telling you, those professionals that we have up there, our non-commissioned officers and officers, not only do they perform the required duties of that job, but they also go out of their way to foster personal relationships with the local community and also volunteers from the USO. So going up there, I'm going to tell you about the journey that they actually took me on. They took me on the same journey that a family member takes after their soldier pays the ultimate sacrifice of freedom. So from the time I got off the plane to the journey that I took going to the chapel and then going to the Fisher House, I was overcome with emotion because of the overwhelming and thoughtful support that the soldiers from the Human Resources Command were providing to family members of our fallen. And I'll tell you again, it made me instantly proud to be a part of this Human Resources Command and really validated my choice to serve in the Army. So I'll tell you that story to say that is just an example of the commitment and professionalism from one of our teams within the Human Resources Command, and that resonates in the entire command as well. So this command truly believes and fully supports the People First motto. So as you know, in our motto for the command, it is soldiers first. And this is an example of truly supporting the soldier from the cradle to the grave.
Thanks for sharing that story, Sergeant Major. And you're exactly right. I couldn't agree with you more. One would only have to visit those phenomenal soldiers at HRC and at Dover and realize how committed they are to their craft and how passionate they are about accomplishing their mission on a regular basis. So, Sergeant Major, SMA Grinston gave his annual initiative brief during the AUSA annual conference. Unfortunately, it had to be virtual this last year, and hopefully we're going to be in person this year. But one of the things he mentioned, which is important to all, the entire Corps, was the NCO strategy. How does HRC fit into the NCO strategy?
I actually was able to attend this event being in my last job, I was up in that area. So it was great to be in the room. But I'll tell you, being here at HRC, the primary job or focus is to focus on people. Otherwise, we always talk about as the most lethal and important weapon system of our Army. Now, one of the initiatives from Sergeant Major in the Army was readiness and program management. I believe that was the LOE number 3. HRC has a leading effort in the execution of talent management initiatives that are coming up by providing a vehicle to identify the right person at the right time for placement into the right job. Now, this is something we've heard many times in the past, but the main difference now from the previous management techniques is that we are developing and standardizing a process that is, one, transparent, but is also relevant. And with that, it has the ability to continue to adjust based on the ever-changing needs that we see on a daily basis. Now, I know you've heard a lot about IPSA, so that is actually the catalyst that is going to enable the Army NCO strategy.
Sergeant Major, well, thank you. And, many of our listeners are young soldiers, too, and NCOs like us coming up through the ranks. Those of them are planning to make the Army a career and are trying to figure out what they need to do to be successful at each level. You can guarantee that they're going to make a call to HRC to talk to their personnel manager. What do our enlisted soldiers need to do to be successful?
Soldiers of all ranks have got to be good at what we know as the basics. I mean, being disciplined and physically fit, this is a requirement from every soldier from day one in the Army. It doesn't matter what the MOS, specialty or rank of it is. That is the foundation that we have as a soldier. So first, understand and be disciplined and physically fit. Second is to strive and work hard to be the best at whatever job it is that you are given. And I like to use the example of, I talked about my job I had earlier before I came in the Army, working at McDonald's. I worked there for about a year or so, but whether I was a person working cleaning the lobby or if I was in the back flipping burgers or even if I was at the front taking orders on the register, every single job that I did there, I tried to do it to the best of my ability, to be the best one at that. I had no other reason for doing it, but just trying to be the best. But what happened is when it came time for me, when I made that decision to join the Army, the leadership within McDonald's was surprised and looked at me and said, hey, why did you do that? We were going to make you a manager. Just to think, I turned down the opportunity and ended up here. But truly, I tell you that example to say that if you do your best, it is going to be noticed by all those that you work for and you work with, no matter what formation it is that you're serving in. So when leaders see that stuff, they notice your potential and they're going to put some things on you. They're going to challenge you with tasks. They're going to force you to attend boards. They're going to make you take college courses and maybe other military courses that maybe you may not want to take. They're going to put you in charge, but also they're going to continuously counsel you on the good and the bad. And I would tell soldiers, do not run from those opportunities that feel like it is that you are being picked upon. Because what you got to understand is leaders are watching you at all times, and they are noticing that potential in you and are trying to prepare you for increased levels of responsibility. So be confident knowing that you are who they have chosen to lead the Army into the future. So yes, feel honored. You should feel honored, but I know you're going to have a little stress with it, and that's okay. But make sure you embrace that attention and accept the challenge. Now, in my instance, personally, I was a victim of this. I sit here today as an HRC, CSM, not only because I tried to be the best at whatever I was doing, but because I was forced to do some things that were outside of my comfort zone. And one specific example is that I was pushed to go, or I guess you could say encouraged, to go to airborne school by a pretty aggressive senior NCO. At the time, I didn't really want to go. I tell you about the airplane stuff before, so I wasn't too fond of height. But truly, my pride would not allow me to say no. But fast forward to now, had I not went to airborne school, I would not have had the opportunity to become a battalion CSM. I would not have had the opportunity to become a brigade CSM, which are two requirements to sit in this position right here. But at that time, I could not see that. But I did exactly what it is that my leadership was wanting me to do because they seen that potential in me. So I couldn't see that when I was forced, but I'm so grateful today for those who pushed me to do things that I didn't necessarily want to do. And then kind of to tie those two together, either of those 2 points that I've just made are relevant to any soldier unless they have good moral character and respect everyone and their points of view. We talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives, which are highlighted within Army People Strategy. And these are absolute requirements for any soldier to be successful.
Sergeant Major McAdoo, phenomenal guidance, absolutely phenomenal guidance that I think every soldier and non-commissioned officer needs to hear. I used to tell NCOs and soldiers all the time, and exactly what you said, summing it up, is it's not about where you are stationed in the Army. It's about what you do and how you do it, and you will be successful. Everybody thinks that there's this magic place to get promoted. Unfortunately, they call HRC and sometimes, complain about their next duty assignment. But I always told people, don't worry about where you're going. Worry about what you're going to do and how you're going to do it. So well said, Sergeant Major. Now, speaking of assignments, Sergeant Major, that is a big piece of what you do, and it happens to affect every soldier that makes the Army a career. So something new that's been in place for a little while is the assignment satisfaction key, the Enlisted Module, Ask EM. Now that you have 2 iterations of Ask EM Marketplace and they've been completed, what do NCOs and their supervisors need to know about the Ask EM for the next time?
Before I get started, I want to take this opportunity to send another shout out and to brag on what it is that the professionals here within the Human Resources Command do. As we know, the Ask EM tool, as you're talking about, is put in place for soldiers to be able to kind of have a look at what's going on in their career. But everyone may not know this tool that has been put out was championed and it was made internally to our Enlisted Personnel Management Director, which is the EPMD, off of the resource that they already had within their formation. They were not able to go out and get additional resources, additional expertise. They made this out of hide. And like I said, that goes to show you the professionalism and the commitment that the Human Resources Command has to taking care of soldiers. But more specifically, this tool is designed to ensure that our enlisted soldiers are able to at least have a part in the process of their career. And transparency is really the biggest thing that this accomplishes, and it allows the NCOs to see what is available to them. Many times as a soldier, I have been required to do things I didn't like, nor did I see value. Like, hey, McAdoo, you got to go to this assignment or whatever. I did not want to go to it. However, when they explained to me, I still didn't want to go to it, but I understood. So that's what this does right here. This Ask EM tool does right now is allows the soldier or NCO to see why it is that they're going somewhere. Not necessarily that they continue to agree with it, but that they understand and they will do their best at it. So I say that to say this. We want Ask them to be a disciplined market that maximizes the predictability while optimizing readiness and preference, while also supporting our professional development model. Now, keep in mind that as soldiers, we are part of a big lethal fighting force that's always connected at every level. And as we always know, readiness is at the forefront of everything. So with Ask them being there, it does not mean that every single non-commissioned officer or soldier want to get exactly what they want. It's got to see where it's tied into readiness. Quite often, though, they do match up and they get what they want, but sometimes the readiness requirements won't allow it to happen. But I will tell you this, you mentioned the first 2 enlisted manning cycles. The statistics on our first cycle showed that 80% of the non-commissioned officers who rank order their preference got one of their top 5 choices. That just goes to show you that the system does work. And then we're about to complete the second cycle. It looks like we're going to be near that percentage again. So all the enlisted members, make sure you please log into the Ask Them to the Marketplace and provide input on your career path, because you might just get exactly what you want. But if not, I'm telling you, I'm pretty confident that you're going to get exactly what you need. But no matter what it is that you get, make sure you be the best.
Well said, Sergeant Major. And I'm glad you brought out that point that it's not a guarantee. This is about obviously listening to the soldier, hearing what they want to do, but matching the right soldier with the right skills to the right position at the right time for the needs of the Army. Is that right?
Yes.
Excellent, Sergeant. Sergeant Major, another big thing that HRC does, and they do a lot of big things, but this one is near and dear to the hearts of soldiers, just like when they get their assignments, and that's promotion system. Now, there still seems to be some confusion about the new enlisted promotion evaluation system and how it differs from the previous selection board process. Can you describe the key changes and how they impact the soldier's career?
Yes, the new enlisted promotion system that we are doing, that we're right now, is a great way that we are managing talent within the NCO Corps. Kind of up front, I want to reiterate again that we are no longer conducting what we're used to knowing as the Enlisted Centralized Promotion Boards. It is now called an NCO Evaluation Board. I reiterate again, it's an NCO Evaluation Board, which is hard for a lot of people to understand because it's one of the biggest changes we've had within the NCO Corps over the past 50 years. The system has evolved from what we're used to as a time-based to a merit-based promotion system, meaning that how you are rank ordered in this evaluation board, puts you to the top of the list when it comes to identifying talent to have those promotion opportunities. But what this board also does many other things. The OML that comes out of this board does many other things. It facilitates a number of human resource management decisions on things such as schooling, such as assignments, special assignments, and also those who are retained or not retained in the Army. So the system allows soldiers who are identified as talent to be promoted quicker based on performance rather than what we're used to as the time in service, time and grace. So this truly recognizes talent and rewards them for exceptional performance based on their merit and not on their time in service.
Great explanation of the changes and important changes, because that's what we want. We want a system that rewards performance and potential. And I think that the new system is doing a much better job at that. So Major, another big program that HRC helps manage, and that is the Exceptional Family Member Program. It's an important resource for soldiers and families, but I don't think everyone clearly understands HRC's role in executing this program. And then when they do that, I think there's some confusion. Can you share with us how HRC helps the Army provide this important benefit?
Yes, absolutely. As we know, the Exceptional Family Member Program is one of the great examples of how the Army continues to take care of soldiers and also their family members. So the special needs of a family member is a mandatory consideration in the assignment process that we do here within HRC. So at the end of the day, our assignment manager will not place a soldier on assignment to a location where the required care is not available for the special needs of the soldier. But this is a shared responsibility between us at HRC, between the soldier, but also between the Surgeon General's office. So obviously the role of the soldier is to make sure they enroll their family members into the Efmp program, but also they got to make sure that that remains updated and does not expire. So our specific role within HRC is obviously to find those assignments that the soldiers can go to based off the location that the Surgeon General's office have verified that there's care, available. So in many instances, this matchup is easy, but in some cases, I want to kind of foot stomp this. In some cases, the locations are limited. But in these cases, we want to ensure that the soldiers know that our enlisted personnel management director is here to work directly with them and to identify appropriate location based on the soldier's career progression goals. So that will be a one-on-one conversation if that is a hard match for those soldiers, for them to be able to understand while talking in concert with our professionals up here. Now, we talked about readiness earlier, and expired EFMPs, if we allow those dates to expire, it kind of eats away at our readiness because it creates a pool of soldiers that our professionals up here may not be able to assign to specific areas, which hinders our ability to forecast and man the units to do the job that they need to do. But on top of that, it additionally creates unneeded stresses on the family members because, trying to move at the last minute, they're having to wait for responses back to last minute appointments that they've made from all types of entities while they're still trying to update the family status. And on top of that, the family needs may have changed, which will make this process even more stressful. So HRC, us here, obviously the Office of the Surgeon General, have the responsibility to meet the needs of the soldiers' family members. But this is impossible to do if the soldiers allow their EFMPs to expire. It is in everyone's best interest for the EFMP to remain updated. So soldiers, at every level, please always ensure that your Efmp does not expire so that we can do our job here and forecast manning units and forecast future jobs for the soldiers.
And Sergeant Major, thank you for that explanation. And to make clear for our listeners out there, is how frequently does HRC recommend that the soldiers update their Efmp?
For those who have medical specialties, it's updated every 3 years or when there is a change in status. And those who have other needs, it's updated every year. So once again, if there's a change in status, please update it, because those are how we are making assignments based off of the Office of the Surgeon General saying there's care at that location. Thank you,
Sergeant Major. Sergeant Major, we haven't had a podcast this year without having a discussion about COVID. So I'm not going to break the show. We're going to have to talk about it because it unfortunately has changed the way of life for the world. But let's talk vaccinations for a minute. There are a lot of media reports about soldiers and others choosing not to get a COVID vaccine for a number of reasons. Have you had the vaccine, and what's your message to others about the vaccine?
You know, I will tell you, I am absolutely proud to say that I've taken the COVID vaccine and absolutely encourage others to do the same. People talk about side effects, but, I really had no side effects other than, the normal soreness that you would have after a good PT session. So those out there who are still worried about it, continue to gather information. Ask questions of those who have received the vaccine, and make sure you make a decision based off of the facts. So for me, knowing that I have the vaccine has relieved all kind of stresses on me. Simple things as every time I cough, now I don't think that I have COVID. It makes it a whole lot easier on me, not only for my safety, but also for those individuals I'm around. So I feel more safer and more confident to do some of the pre-COVID things, simple things such as, simply going to the gym or the grocery store. And another side effect of that is absolutely improve my mental well-being. So it's reassuring right now to see the positive cases and hospitalization continue to go down. And I absolutely attribute that to the increase in people getting the COVID vaccine. Now, as a lifelong soldier, I've had quite a few deployments and I've been overseas quite a few times. And we're always, myself and family members that are going, are always provided vaccinations prior to us going to those deployments or those assignments in order to protect us and our families from known deadly diseases in those areas. Now, I will tell you that COVID is a known enemy on our own soil. Now, the vaccines that we have now provide an effective weapon to prevent or lessen the severity of its attack. Though we're not now in the States fighting or residing in foreign land, I still believe that we must do our part to protect our people both at home and abroad. So, I'm confident that these vaccines are going to help the Army be ready to fight and win our nation's wars. And I absolutely encourage others to go on the offense and fight COVID by getting the vaccine.
Well, Sergeant Major, I'm going to help you reinforce the message too. And I haven't had my vaccine yet, and I'm going to use that as a message to soldiers. You have a phenomenal healthcare system, of which I benefited from for 30 years, and now I'm separated from it, and I'm in a different health system, which is still great, but I have to wait my turn. And I wish I had the opportunity to get it tomorrow, because I would. And as soon as it's ready, and I'm ready to get it, and I meet the eligibility criteria, I'm going to go get one. So my message to all the soldiers out there is just like yours, Sergeant Major. It's the right thing to do. It will protect you and your family, and more importantly, your fellow soldier. Helps fight the spread of this thing. So, Sergeant Major, I got to ask, will COVID shots affect assignments later on? Have we talked about that? Have we said anything about that now?
No, that is not a factor in any of the, in anything yet. We know it's not a mandatory. That's why we are, we're encouraging, our soldiers to protect themselves and protect their families.
Well, good. All right, Sergeant Major. I just wanted to clear that up too, just in case somebody wanted to start a rumor out there about vaccine assignments. So, So, Sergeant Major McAdoo, we could talk to you, I know, for hours because of the incredible and the immense mission that you and your soldiers do at HRC and all that you do for all of our soldiers across all three components. But you're a busy man and you have a lot to do. And what I want to do is just get a commitment from you that we'll come back to you after you've been in the job for some time and you're working some of your initiatives. And we'd like an update. And I know our listeners would love to hear an update. And just tell us about what HRC is doing now for our soldiers. It's just a healthy way to communicate to them out there and get your word out. So we'd love to have you back, Sergeant Major, if you're willing.
Definitely willing.
We can't wait for it. It was a pleasure to have you with us today, and we hope you'll come back again. And I know you will. And I'd like to give you the last word, Sergeant Major. Do you have any final thoughts you'd like to provide our listeners and our soldiers out there?
Well, no, I just want to say, thank you for having me on this podcast. I just want to restate again how overjoyed I am to have been selected for this very large and important position that positively affects every soldier in the total Army, as I stated from the beginning, from the time they enlist in the Army to their retirement and beyond. And everyone, please understand that the Human Resource Command is the execution of the Army's number one priority of putting people first. Now, the Army People Strategy solidifies that commitment to our most important resource, which is our American soldier. And I guarantee you, I promise you that the professional workforce here within the HRC will aggressively work hard every single day to ensure that the outcomes are achieved in order for our Army to be able to deploy, fight, and win our nation's wars. Now, if you would like to know any more about the efforts of HRC, or if you have questions that maybe I may not have answered, please go to our website at www.hrc.army.mil or call 1-888-ARMY-HRC. And the last thing I've got to say is our motto, which is soldiers first.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, a very clear and a very important message from a phenomenal soldier, the new Command Sergeant Major for United States Army Human Resources Command, Fort Knox, Kentucky, Command Sergeant Major McAdoo. Our time has come to an end to close this edition of Soldier Today podcast. All of us here at the Association of the United States Army want to thank Command Sergeant Major McAdoo for joining us today and for sharing his story and giving us an important update on the United States Army Human Resources Command. As Army alums, I can say from all of us across the country, thank you, and the entire HRC team for what you have done and all that you continue to do for our Army.
To all our listeners, thanks for joining us. Be sure to subscribe to the Army Matters podcast on iTunes and everywhere podcasts are found. The Army Matters podcast series is brought to you by the Association of the United States Army, the U.S. Army's professional association, member-supported, Army Connected. Visit us at AUSA.org for more information or to become a member. Your membership helps AUSA continue to carry out its mission to educate, inform, and connect with the total Army, our industry partners, and our supporters of a strong national defense. For questions or to provide topic recommendations, email us at podcast@ausa.org. Have a great Army Day. Hua.